Hello and welcome to my Backgammon channel. Thank you for joining me today. Now, in today's short lesson, I want to introduce you to a very cool concept on XG. It's a great feature called dice distribution, and it helps you understand the loss and gain of future rolls for both yourself and your opponent. It's a great way of getting insight into positions to see how rolls being played rightly or wrongly can lead to increases and decreases in equity, which translates to match winning chances. Now, if we start from the opening position and we give white a 6-3, we can click here on analyze position and we can see there the two best moves at the top: 24, 18, 13, 10, like so, followed by 24, 15. This is the second best move, but it's showing in green because it's an error. Now we might want to ask ourselves, why exactly is this move an error? Now we can get further insight into that question by doing dice distribution. So we can highlight the opening two moves, the second play and the best play. We click on the right mouse button and then we click on dice distribution. And then we will see these two tables show up, these two bar charts. Now here we can see the difference between the equity gain and equity loss after the best play and the second play. So here the greens are the gain we get after opponent has made the reply. So for example, after the best play, 3-2 plays worse for our opponent and gives us an equity gain. 4-3 plays worse for the opponent after us making the correct play. Now we can see here that we get much more gain from certain rolls from making the correct play. So the green bars are higher, meaning that this play has more chances of leading us towards the win. Now if you look at red, so red are the rolls which work well for our opponent but work badly for us. So here in both cases, double 6 is a joker for our opponent and is best avoided, leading to a gain for them and a big loss for us. But after making the incorrect play of 24-15, we are also giving our opponent a good double 3, and even double 4 works better, as we can see in the size of the bar. So we can understand that 24-15 is showing as an error because we are giving away more good rolls to our opponent. So this is a way of using dice distribution to gain insights. Now if we just look at the best move now, 24, 18, 13, 10, we can do further investigation. So we can go to dice map here and we can see that our opponent's replies on the whole are quite good for us besides double 6. So we can see kind of in terms of colour, from green being good for us, amber being okay for us, red being bad for us, where the equity loss lies. So this is just on dice map. Now in some cases you will see more red for certain moves or more green, and then you can get an idea of which replies are worse or which moves in fact are worse. And in order to show that, we can look at a bad way to play 6-3. So we can click on 24-21, 24-18, right click dice distribution, and now we can see on the graph that the red bars are much bigger, showing that we are giving much more advantage to our opponent, many more good rolls, by playing our opening roll in the wrong way. And again we can see more red on the dice map. Now, if we just go back to the best one, 24, 18, 13, 10, we right click dice distribution. We can also have a look under details here to see under expanded. So here we have the best reply for us from our opponent down to the worst for us. So if we make 24, 18, 13, 10, then if our opponent rolls a 3-2, then that is good for us. If our opponent rolls a double 6, which would be the best reply, that is obviously the worst for us, leading to a much bigger equity loss. And here we can see more details. So let's say our opponent did roll double 6, then we can see after that double 6 how we would play different rolls. So we make the standard 6-3 opening. Our opponent rolls double 6 and of course hits us by going to a bar of 2 checkers, and then also goes to the other bar with the 2 checkers from the starting point. And then we can see the replies from the best to the worst. Of course, double 6 being terrible because we would dance and not be able to play, but double 5 being very good. So here under expanded, under details, again we can get more detail into understanding which rolls play badly for our opponent, 3-2 in this case, to which rolls play good for our opponent, like double 6. So if our opponent were to roll 3-2 and play 13-8, which would be bad for them, good for us, and we were to roll a double 6, then that would be obviously a great sequence. If our opponent was to roll 3-2 and we were to roll double 4, again, a good sequence, but not quite as good as a double 6, going all the way down to 3-2 followed by 2-1. So again, you can see all that detail. Now, this is just a way to demonstrate it using the opening position, but of course you can clear the position and then we could look at something slightly more complicated, like a prime v prime scenario, such as this. Okay, so here, white is on a roll. We can just go to Analyze, Dice Distribution. Let's look at the graph again. Now here, in this position, the best roll is double 6 for white because we wouldn't move and our position would remain intact. Whereas double 4 would be a terrible roll because, of course, we would have to break our 7 point and our 6 point. So here we can see in more complicated situations such as prime v prime what is right to do. And then let's put a roll on the dice. So let's put 2-1. So here we can analyze under position and we can see that the best move is obviously 6-3. We can highlight that in the next best move, right click, dice distribution, and again we can see, as shown before, what kind of happens afterwards. So if we do make the wrong play, 7-6, 7-5, and break our prime, then all the 6s suddenly become much better numbers than playing 6-3, as we can see by the huge increase in the red bars. So there's a lot of insight to be gained from dice distribution, and you can play around with prime v prime positions or bear off positions or holding game positions to see what works out. So really you can just have a go. You can enter any position you like onto the board. and then you can just see what kind of plays, what doesn't play. So like here, for instance, you know, what plays well for white and what doesn't. Well, we can just have a look under the dice distribution just to kind of see that here the best move is double 5, followed by double 4, followed by double 6. And then here, a lot of moves have an equity loss, but some moves are much worse than others. And here 6-1 would obviously be terrible. Here, if we were to roll something like 5-4, you might be thinking, well, what do I do in this situation? Do I break my board? Do I run from the 16 point? Do I run from the 13 point? Again, analyze position. Let's look at the best move, which would be breaking the board. So let's just run those on a higher setting just to check. Let's just do ++. Okay, so the right move is 6-1-5-1. Second move is breaking 2 from the 6 point. And then we can run dice distribution again on this. Click on dice distribution, and there we can kind of see which numbers play well for our opponent after making the correct play, followed by the second best play, and in terms of equity loss and equity gain. And then we can highlight the best play like we did before, 6-1, 5-1, and then we can look at the dice map to see, well, most rolls work in our favour after kind of making the correct play. And then we can look at details and expand it to again see which rolls are good for us, for our opponent to roll, and which rolls would be bad for us for our opponent to roll, such as that. So there we are. I hope you've gained some insight into the great feature of dice distribution. You can really set up any position on here and really get some really valuable insights into that. Even common mistakes like our opponent started with a 6-2 and then us rolling a 3-1. Here, of course, it's correct to make the 5 points, but some intermediate players might choose to hit. It is, of course, kind of wrong in this case to make the hit in play. And why is it wrong? Well, again, we just go into dice distribution to understand the consequences of us making that decision. And here, like I've shown you, you can get some insights into what works well and what doesn't work well. So highlight 2 moves, make a comparison, and you can see after the correct move, here the red bars are slightly shorter. That means that our opponent's rolls aren't as bad after the correct play as after the incorrect play. Here the green bars are slightly higher overall, more of a triangle is coloured in. So that would mean that our opponent's rolls, which are bad, play better for us. And then we can compare dice maps, and then I like to also look at the details under expanded to see what the sequence is. And when you start looking more into the future, start looking at the story and the narrative of the next move after that, it will point you into making better decisions over the board and not losing as much equity, and therefore increasing your winning chances. So that's dice distribution. Analyze dice distribution, or go to the panel, highlight, right click, and then dice distribution there. So I hope you found that useful, I certainly use this a lot in understanding more complex positions, and you'll see it has a lot of value. So thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe to my channel if you did so. See you next Wednesday. Goodbye. Happy rolling. Bye.